recording.
Alright.
Alright, so what was... Oh my god. I sound like death. What was the process to get your EP completed?
Well, firstly, I did all the songwriting myself. So that was the first step. I arranged it, wrote down on little pieces of paper, like, I have them over there, actually. Just the arrangement-wise and when the solos are going to come in. And then I did a rough track, wrote all the solos, I programmed all the drums to it. Then I recorded the guitars for real. I tracked it 4 times, rhythm, 2 rhythm on the right, 2 rhythm on the left. So that's what Jake Pitts recommended to me, just to give it the heaviest sound possible. Then I did all the solos for it, and then I borrowed a friend's bass to do 4 of the songs. I scrapped the 5th song in favor of a new 5th song that I wrote for it that I liked a lot better. And that one was Father Forgive My Regrets, and I think that's my favorite on it. So I'm glad that was part of it. And by that time I had bought my own bass, so I used that to record that one. So that was pretty much the writing and recording process of that. I recorded it all at home. I recorded it direct, and I reamped everything. I used Amplitude 3 as all my amp modeling software, and Easy Drummer 2 for all the drums. So yeah.
Overall, are you satisfied with the feedback that you've gotten back about the EP?
Definitely. A lot of people really liked it, and people are still like messaging me about it and being like, hey, I really liked it. And it's kind of cool to have something as like a reference material for what I can do and the kind of stuff that I write, and just to have that to show people.
Sorry, I don't want to die on you.
You're good.
How long have you been playing guitar?
I took lessons in 3rd grade, and I didn't exactly like guitar very much. But then at the very end of 8th grade, that's when I got into Slash and Guns N' Roses, and I had a mentor of mine. He let me borrow his 1977 Les Paul Custom, and playing that for like a month straight, that's what kind of made the shift of like, I really want to do this. And, I don't technically I've been playing since 3rd grade, but I don't really count, a few chords as like playing, you know what I'm saying? So I say I've been playing, almost 5 years at this point. So.
So after the lessons from like 3rd grade, you've been mainly self-taught after that?
Yeah. Yep. I took lessons for, 3rd grade. So.
I remember you telling me all about your performance in Vegas when you were playing on stage and stuff. So what was that like?
In the spring?
Yeah.
That was pretty good. I went out there with a friend of mine, Stevie Ash. He's a drummer. I met up with a friend of mine, who Zach Michaels. He was a fan of my channel, and he lives out near Vegas in Phoenix actually. And I invited him out, and we rented a house there for a week. We went to a studio and recorded some stuff. We worked on some of my original material, and then we played 2 shows there during the week, and just a cover set, at a small local club. So that was pretty cool.
What has your favorite song been that you've covered guitar-wise?
That's a really good one. Most recently, Beast and the Harlot by Avenged Sevenfold. That is my 2nd most recent cover. There was a lot of like extra lead stuff that I that I did, and I'm just really proud of the outcome. So that's my favorite, definitely. Another one would have to be my Perfect Weapon cover, because that's the one that Chris Biersack originally shared, and that pretty much started everything. So that one means a lot to me, and yeah.
What's the next step in your music career for you?
Well, I'm working with a couple people. Can you edit this?
I can try.
Can try. It's kind of hard to say at this point. I have a couple friends, the Stevie Ash in Yorktown, that I've been sending a couple of my original projects to, and then kind of got some things coming up next year with a band that I can't exactly.
Is this what we've talked about before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't exactly announce this, but yeah, that's coming up.
All right.
So just stay tuned the next 2 months. I'm not allowed to say, so.
No, you're good. And I don't think that they will see this. If they do, then they won't know that it's about them.
Just try to edit that tastefully if you can.
Yeah, I will. What band would you love to tour with if you could? Just any.
It's always been to open for Black Veil Brides. That's always been kind of a staple of those milestones that you want to achieve eventually, and it's a lot of hard work to get there. And I mean, who doesn't want to open for them in this scene? Because they're they're at the top of the heap. Just as far as like a logistics perspective, it's a smart move to open for them. But also, it's just, I could be best friends and hanging out with them every single day. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm always going to be a huge Black Veil Brides fan, because it's like I've been a fan since 2010, and they've been a huge part of giving me each and every opportunity, especially Chris, that's come thus far. And Chris, while he's not directly in the band, he's played such a huge role in their path. So
yeah. Why don't you talk about being on stage with them? Because I saw that video and asked about it.
Yeah. That was almost surreal. I was side stage the whole show, or the whole Black Veil Bride set. I went backstage after Falling University set, and it was kind of crazy to watch from that perspective, because it's like the crowd was deafening, like literally. It was crazy. But I was on stage for probably like 30 seconds, and just looking out there and seeing, from that vantage point, the audience. It was certainly, very surreal. It went by very fast, and it was cool being up there with people that I've had on my wall since 2010.
Yeah.
So.
My gosh. What goes into the decision process of what songs you're gonna cover?
Two things. I either do them because I simply want to do it for my own pleasure. Like, for example, the last cover I just did was Domination by Pantera. I didn't think that would get too many views, just because of the band it is and the song selection. It's kind of not exactly a hit single by that band. I just did it because that's a song that I really like and I wanted to cover. The second choice, which I prefer, is I think what would get the most views. And that's the stuff like In the End by Black Veil Brides, and Beast and the Harlot by Avenged Sevenfold, and whatever's really popular and relevant, or My Heart of Fire by Black Veil Brides. The Black Veil Brides ones are always the ones that get the most views, and that's I put a lot of time and energy into the covers. So it's like, I want you got to be smart about it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's the main deciding factor.
Should I even ask you who your biggest influences are musically?
You should. Slash, Dimebag Darrell, and Jackie Vincent and Jake Pitts. Those are the guitar people, that have really, you know, influenced my taste and style the most. As far as a business point, songwriter, you know, Nikki Sixx has always been that person for me, where it's like, you know, that's what I want to do, where I want to have everything. I want to have I don't just want to be a musician. I want to be a really smart business person, and I want to be the main spokesman for my band. And, you know, I really want to pave my own path. And, you know, I think that he is, you know, the king of that, you know, coming from nothing and, you know, making his own path and being successful at it and having so many business ventures and just making it happen. And so those 5 people.
I know, well, 3rd grade, were you still in Japan then?
No, I was in Virginia for the first time. Yeah. I moved to Japan the summer before my 8th grade year, when I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you really see, like, a big difference between the music in Japan and the music here? Like, the different genre that you listen to?
Like, as far as what I listen to?
Yeah.
Not really. It's always been, you know, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. Those are always going to be my 2 favorite bands. And I guess I've branched out a little bit since then. I got into Pantera the spring before I left. You know.
I guess those ones are kind of big, like, everywhere.
Yeah.
Motley Crue is definitely big, like, everywhere.
I saw them for the first time there. And it was a small local not a local venue, but it was a smaller venue than an arena that you'd see them in the States. So you got, like, I was pretty close. And it was a non-seated venue, so you could get, like, the crowd energy, and which I honestly prefer a lot more than, you know, a seated arena where,
yeah,
you know, you can be like, you know.
If you could work with any musician on an album, who would it be?
Let's see. Like, anyone, like a vocalist or a producer or
anybody.
Anybody?
At all.
Slash, definitely. Since day one, he's always been the biggest influence, you know. And there may be others that have had a huge impact, but without that one, there'd be nothing, you know.
Yeah. If you weren't playing music, what would you be doing?
I'd be working on classic cars. That was, what?
I should have known that answer.
Well, I mean, not very many other people do, honestly, because all they know me for is just playing guitar. But, you know, before I got into music at the end of 8th grade, like, restoring and customizing, you know, classic vintage cars, that was my passion, like, on the same level as I pursue music. And I had an internship at a custom car shop here in Virginia. And so that's what I would want to be doing.
You should definitely try to figure out a way to balance both.
I've always wanted to. Like, I feel like, you know, James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, Mike Ness, you know, I think the Blink-182 drummer, Travis, I think he's a pretty big car guy. You know, JC from the Relapse Symphony just bought, you know, a sweet new Mustang, you know.
Yep.
It goes hand in hand, you know, fast cars, rock and roll, you know.
How would you describe your EP to anybody who hasn't heard it before?
I'd say that there's a mix of all my influences. And I really tried to do that intentionally, just to give a feel for my taste. Just, like, there's, like, 2 heavy metal songs that are, like, Pantera, kind of, you know, early Black Veil Brides-ish. There's, like, a power ballad. There's, like, an 80s Ozzy song, you know. And then there's, like, a, you know, Slash's Snake Pit kind of song. So, I mean, I just say overall it's, you know, a very classic hard rock sounding album overall. To encompass the entire album in a certain genre, I'd say a hard rock album with a vintage feel.
What's the very first song that you learned to play on guitar, if you remember?
It was this classical piece called Spanish Dance. But as far as like rock songs go, it was Bang Your Head by Quiet Riot and Cocaine by Eric Clapton. I learned those both in the same day. I was like, this song on the radio is cool. And it's like, dun, 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 dun. You know.
How did you come up with the name for your EP?
That's always been the band name that I've wanted. Just because, you know, it has a dark connotation. The word Russian, or the term Russian roulette, it has a dark undertone to it. And the game Russian roulette, it's either very black or white. You know, there's no in between with that game. And as far as outcome, and for me, it's like I've always viewed the music industry and myself in a similar kind of way, where it's either you succeed or you don't, you know. And I think you know, it's a fitting term for that kind of mentality. And since probably I was 14, I've wanted that to be my band name. So yeah. So I decided to just have it as the EP name. Yeah.
If you were on a deserted island, would you rather have your favorite album that you could play or your instrument?
Instrument, by far. Definitely.
How was it that you came up with the name for your YouTube account and Facebook and Twitter and everything else that you use it for?
I'm slowly trying to change everything over to @London McKuffey. But the name The Motley Misfit, that came from actually, well, besides the fact that, you know, Motley Crue and the Misfits are 2 of my favorite bands, one day I was looking through my dictionary on my computer, like, and I was like, what do these words mean? And so I looked up the definition and I was like, you know, Motley, you know, that sounds a lot like me, you know, and then I was like, Misfit. That definitely sounds a lot like me. And so I was like, just combine those and, you know, make that my YouTube name.
Oh. What does the music scene look like around you?
Around me?
Yeah.
It's very, a lot of hardcore bands, a lot of deathcore bands, and a lot of indie bands. Nothing else really.
If you were to get out of Virginia to do music anywhere, where would you go? Or where would you want to go?
Well, I loved my stay in Vegas. I love that city. I love the feel and I love the atmosphere and vibe from it. But, you know, aside from that, everyone keeps saying that things are shifting to the East Coast. And I can honestly, see that happening. So, I mean, I'd like to, if, Philly would be a huge one that I'd want to maybe pursue, and also, DC. That seems to have a pretty good scene, so those two.
Yeah. Detroit has a pretty big scene right now, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.